All right, we'll get going. Thank you everyone for joining. We really appreciate you taking the time, and we're very excited to be here today to provide our investors with an update on where things are today and where they're going in the future. As most of you know, WonderFi has been quite busy this year, mostly completing M&A. On the back of this M&A, we have put together what we believe are some of the most reputable and brands in the digital asset industry in Canada today. Going forward, our business is primarily focused around these operating subsidiaries and our investment in Tetra. Running through these, BitBuy and CoinSquare are two of Canada's most long-serving and largest digital asset platforms. Both are regulated through the Canadian regulatory framework that was put in place a few years ago and have really strong positions within the Canadian market. SmartPay was acquired through the CoinSmart acquisition and is a B2B crypto to fiat payment processor. We are very excited about the growth that we've seen in SmartPay and believe that its global reach is what really sets it apart from a WonderFi perspective. Whereas our trading platforms, both BitBuy and CoinSquare, solely operate within the Canadian market, SmartPay gives us a footprint into the emerging global industry for digital assets. Tetra is Canada's only qualified custodian for digital assets, and we are very proud to be the single largest shareholder of that entity. There are meaningful synergies between our operating entities and Tetra, and as we work through those synergies, there are a lot of exciting opportunities on the horizon. It's important to mention when you think about BitBuy and CoinSquare, you also consider all of the other platforms that have been consolidated along the way. As mentioned, you can see that Coinberry, CoinSmart, and Bitfo are other crypto trading platforms that WonderFi has acquired and has integrated into the BitBuy trading platform. So all of the users that we've acquired from those acquisitions are now being serviced through the BitBuy platform. In total, WonderFi has acquired 5 of the 11 registered crypto trading platforms in the country, and we really think this underscores the positioning, the strong positioning that we have in the market and the clear consolidation that we've undertaken. We're going to start with a few updates on Q3 and Q4 to give you guys an overview on how the business has been performing of late. When you bring together these many businesses in short order, it can be very difficult to integrate, but I believe the management team at WonderFi has done an incredible job at not only integrating these businesses, but identifying and quickly extracting the synergies that exist within them. Starting off, you can see that WonderFi's wholly owned and operated subsidiaries, BitBuy, CoinSquare, and SmartPay generated revenues of $9.9 million in Q3. This signals the clear value that WonderFi is generating through the consolidation efforts, as you can compare it to less than $3 million for standalone Q2 or $3.3 million when compared to the prior year a year ago. Total cash and digital assets of $32.9 million and investments of $15.7 million also reflect incredibly favorably on the acquisitions we've completed. WonderFi has meaningfully strengthened its balance sheet through our cash and digital assets and investments, and remain in a really strong position to grow the business and take advantage of opportunities as they emerge. We also noted that total BitBuy and CoinSquare client assets under custody exceeded $695 million as of September 30th. This represents the magnitude of the platforms that we own and operate, and the value that we can drive through this customer base when markets start to show volatility, as we've seen over the last 30 to 45 days. Equally important, as mentioned earlier with the SmartPay subsidiary, was that it was able to generate positive cash flow for the quarter. As mentioned, we are really excited about the SmartPay business. We think this represents meaningful opportunity to WonderFi shareholders long term, and as it's already generating positive cash flow, we can see a real opportunity for that business to continue to play a meaningful role within the broader WonderFi consolidated statements on a go-forward basis. The client base for SmartPay is international, and we think that that business is really set up for success as the digital asset industry continues to disrupt the payments industry. For more information on the Q3 statements and our MD&A, please feel free to go to SEDAR where they're publicly available. We also mentioned some of the highlights from Q4 that were really encouraging to the management team as we entered into Q4 on the back of a really strong third quarter. In October, we are incredibly proud of this accomplishment. WonderFi generated positive cash flow on a consolidated basis, which really reflects on the attention that our management team has focused on financial sustainability. We have been very mindful that when you bring these companies together, there has to be a viable business on the other side of it. And WonderFi has been working tirelessly to identify the synergies and to take full effect of them as quickly as possible. We believe that October reflects a sign of where the business is heading long term, and we are really excited by those encouraging results in October. We also reference that we've seen material increases to the retail trading segment within BitBuy and CoinSquare, with a 53% increase in average daily trading volumes to start November when compared to an already strong October. We think this is a really exciting sign that the rally in digital assets that we've seen over the last 2 months is sustainable and here to stay. And from a WonderFi perspective, we are really encouraged by the increase in retail trading volumes and believe that there is meaningful upside on this segment as the market continues to pick up. We also highlighted the increase in client assets under custody on the platform. They were 695 million as of September 30th, 2023. As of November 10th, they exceeded $875 million. We think this reflects well on the positioning that BitBuy and CoinSquare both have in the Canadian market with respect to digital assets. Over the course of that same period of time, Bitcoin and Ethereum were up 10 to 20%, and we saw a meaningful increase in our assets under custody on the back of that. We believe that these numbers are a strong signal of the market share and the positioning that we have today within the retail and institutional trading segments in Canada, and really would expect those numbers to grow as the market continues to trend in the positive direction. Related to the costs and the synergies that we have been really focused on as a management team, we are able to successfully migrate the CoinSmart client accounts onto the BitBuy platform in October. When you look at the job that our management team and our tech team has done integrating these businesses over the course of the last 3 months, we will have successfully integrated 3 crypto trading platform client accounts into the BitBuy platform with little or no interruption in trading volumes. We believe that the work we've done in establishing this framework to successfully migrate client accounts from one platform to BitBuy represents a template for future acquisitions. And as we streamline the efforts required to migrate client accounts, the opportunity to acquire further platforms certainly presents itself. BitBuy also announced the acquisition of Bitfo last week, which brings in 17,000 plus registered client accounts that have generated over $235 million in trading volume and over $1.5 million in revenues over the past 12 months. We are really excited to bring the Bitfo client base into WonderFi. We think the client base represents meaningful diversity within our institutional segment. And as this is a segment of our business that has grown materially over the last 12 months, we are really encouraged to continue invest in that segment and make sure that WonderFi is the home for institutional accounts in the Canadian market looking to enter the digital asset ecosystem. More broadly, I wanted to take an opportunity to address some of the catalysts that we have identified that we believe will allow the industry to continue to grow over the course of the coming 6 to 12 months. In July of this year, XRP, which is one of the largest altcoins in the digital asset industry, won a meaningful lawsuit against the SEC. We believe that this sets a future precedent for other altcoins in the US market and provides strong comfort to platforms like ours that are trading altcoins such as XRP and others. The hottest topic in the digital asset industry today is the Bitcoin ETF in the US. Most notably, BlackRock has been incredibly vocal about moving forward with this product. They also recently announced an application for an Ethereum ETF in similar fashion. We believe BlackRock's commitment to this industry represents meaningful maturation within the industry and a strong signal that the industry is here to stay. We expect the Bitcoin ETFs in the US to go to market early next year. And on the back of that, we expect increased awareness and demand for Bitcoin and other digital assets. Of course, there is the Bitcoin halving upcoming as well in next year. And similarly to the ETF, we believe that this catalyst will create increased awareness on the entire industry and certainly apply increased demands for Bitcoin. Obviously, historically, there have been significant run-ups on the right and around the halvings. And, given, everything we are seeing leading up to it, in conjunction with the ETFs that are likely to hit the market early next year, we feel really strongly about the Bitcoin halving as a catalyst heading into 2024. With a closer look on the Canadian market, we believe the trend of large international crypto trading platforms leaving the Canadian market is really relevant to WonderFi shareholders. This is a trend that has emerged over the last 12 to 18 months, and it has been a commendable job of the Canadian regulators to actually enforce the frameworks that have put in place to ensure that actors that are not complying with those frameworks be forced out of the market. We have seen high-profile, very large cryptocurrency trading platforms leave the Canadian market, and as WonderFi continues to consolidate the domestic platforms, we believe that market share and future opportunity is further increased through this trend. Briefly circling back on the halving, I just wanted to reflect, some of the trends that have existed, right in and around the prior halving cycles that we've experienced. Most of us would remember the 2017, 2018 bull run that saw Bitcoin reach a high of just under USD 20,000 for the first time. All of the attention and awareness that was existent in the market during that time was significant and was even furthered in the 2020-2021 bull run when Bitcoin hit all-time highs of just under $65,000 US. Typically, what we see in around these halving cycles are significant institutional adoption, increased investment across the digital asset industry, and significant awareness around Bitcoin and all of the other use cases surrounding digital assets. We're encouraged by the fact that markets are already starting to show meaningful signs of improvement and that the Bitcoin halving is upcoming in April of next year. Focusing on the Canadian market, we have been really encouraged by what we've seen in the digital asset industry within Canada. I think Canada represents one of the more relevant jurisdictions in the industry, as evidenced by the adoption and at the same time the regulatory frameworks that have been put in place in this market, allowing it to continue to grow. And just through some data points here, you can see at least 31% of Canadians plan to purchase cryptocurrency over the next 12 months. And almost half of Canadian crypto owners have used an exchange or trading platforms to store their crypto. We think both of these data points reflect really well on what WonderFi is building. And as we continue to be the hub for digital assets within Canada through our trading platforms, primarily with BitBuy and CoinSquare, also through our payments business with SmartPay, and through Canada's only qualified custodian in Tetra, we feel like we are really well positioned to engage with Canadians in a multiple of different facets as they continue to interact with the digital asset industry. I'm going to spend some time now on the three operating subsidiaries that we have, primarily starting with BitBuy. BitBuy is one of Canada's leading regulated crypto trading platforms, prioritizing security and customer service. BitBuy is one of the few platforms in Canada that offer staking, which is a clear differentiator for it within the market, and also, more importantly, has solutions that are tailored towards retail and advanced traders and institutional clients. We think it's really important as a business to focus on the different segments within trading that are relevant in the market today. Rather than being completely focused on retail, BitBuy has built out an institutional segment of its business that is geared towards high net worth and mid-market clients. This segment has grown significantly this year in an otherwise flat environment for retail. We think the balance of the two is incredibly important as we look to dominate the trading volumes across the country. Certainly within the retail segment, but also within the growing institutional segment. We believe that the regulatory framework in Canada and the growing adoption within the broader market make BitBuy and CoinSquare incredibly well positioned to capture both retail and institutional trading volumes as the market continues to mature. A few other data points on BitBuy: over 40 plus digital assets supported, over 900,000 registered users, with over 400 million in assets under custody, and $26 million plus total assets staked as of September 30th. We think staking is incredibly important for BitBuy long term as it differentiates amongst its peers in the market. But we also believe staking does a really meaningful job at retaining client assets on the platform and providing them with additional products and services that they would otherwise look for elsewhere in the market. Working with Canadian regulators to find the balance between product innovation and consumer protection with a product like staking is an incredibly encouraging sign that we think lays the groundwork for future products and services that we will look to offer. CoinSquare is Canada's oldest crypto trading platform in the country, launching in about 2014. It has a long-standing history of providing Canadians with best-in-class service and easy-to-access markets. It has over 45 plus assets supported. It has over 590,000 registered users lifetime, with $450 million in assets under custody, with over $10 billion in lifetime value traded. CoinSquare's biggest differentiator is its regulatory positioning within the Canadian market. To date, CoinSquare is Canada's first and only crypto-native trading platform registered as a zero investment dealer and marketplace member. This positions CoinSquare and its clients in a really strong position that provides greater assurances to the users and allows CoinSquare to attract a larger audience of potential clients. We believe that our commitment to compliance and transparency within CoinSquare and BitBuy represent another reason for investors to be excited about WonderFi, but also for clients to feel confident when using either platform. SmartPay, as mentioned, is a B2B crypto to fiat payment processor that easily allows merchants around the world to accept digital assets for the goods and services they offer. We think digital assets represent meaningful disruption to the payments industry, and SmartPay is incredibly well situated to capitalize on that trend. Some of the benefits from using SmartPay include instant settlement, no chargebacks, which is very important for merchants, or pricing risk, and more importantly, allows merchants to differentiate themselves and attract a wider audience than they otherwise would by allowing digital assets for the goods and services they offer. We believe that SmartPay is part of a much larger trend, a trend that is global in nature, and in many respects offers significant opportunity for growth. When you think about payments within the digital asset industry, there are many jurisdictions that stand out today. You think about parts of the world like Latin America and Africa, where there are real world use case and need for digital asset payments, whether it's lack of trust in government or banking or volatility within local currencies. Digital assets are playing a real role in those markets today. When you think about jurisdictions like Asia that are far more technology advanced than we are in North America, again, payments with digital assets are far more commonplace. And we believe these trends will continue to emerge in North America. Most recently, Ferrari announced that it will be accepting digital assets as payments for its vehicles. And we think that the luxury market represents a really interesting entry point for digital assets to begin disrupting the payments industry in North America. Again, this is a segment of the business that represents meaningful growth opportunities, is already cash flow positive in Q3, and a segment of the business that we think is really exciting long-term for WonderFi shareholders. To sort of summarize where we are today, we believe that WonderFi represents diversified exposure across the digital asset ecosystem. I've walked you through the brands that we own and operate. Here are the segments where they are winning market share today. most commonly associated with retail on the BitBuy and Coinsquare platform side. That is where these businesses began, focusing primarily on retail, and that's where the product and core competency lies. Our platforms are easy to use, easy to access, web and mobile friendly, and provide self-directed 24/7 support for Canadians to interact with the digital asset industry. As mentioned, both BitBuy and Coinsquare have been incredibly focused and have been successful in building out institutional segments to complement the retail trading platforms that they owned and operated. Both have done a really good job at building out a book of business that is differentiated from the retail segment and provides meaningful opportunities for long-term growth as the market continues to evolve through heightened adoption and clear regulation. Through a white glove service with dedicated account reps, both of these groups provide high net worths, corporate and institutions with best pricing and execution, and in many respects, customized and tailored solutions. We've talked about crypto payments, and obviously SmartPay is how we segment how we interact, how we provide exposure to that segment. SmartPay is the easiest way for businesses and their customers to send and accept crypto payments. And we believe through these three verticals that WonderFi is a clear market leader in these segments and will continue to be so moving forward. With respect to staking, as mentioned, we are really encouraged by the traction that we've seen on BitBuy. We believe longer term, as we can introduce that platform on Coinsquare, working through with regulators to do so, unlocks another clear opportunity for WonderFi to continue to grow its presence within staking. And in an otherwise difficult year within the digital asset industry, to be able to increase the total dollar value of assets on the platform by over 665% year to date is certainly remarkable and reflects really well on the product that we've introduced, and at the same time really signals the demand for this product in the Canadian market. With respect to custody, through our investment in Tetra, we offer exposure to Canada's only regulated custodian licensed to safeguard digital assets. Again, as the industry continues to grow through adoption and clear regulation, we believe a local custodian will play a very important role in that growth. And we believe Tetra is incredibly well situated to win market share as it continues to, as this segment continues to evolve. Through our ATS and marketplaces, we own Canada's only regulated digital asset alternatives trading system, which is something that we are actively working on building out to provide even greater connectivity to traditional finance and to continue to improve the functionality that it can provide. When you look at the core verticals that WonderFi offers exposure to, it is clear that we are hitting on the primary areas of growth and real value in the digital asset industry today. And we are very encouraged by the way in which these platforms have responded to the recent uptick in the market, and believe that we are incredibly well positioned through these assets to grow with the market. When thinking about why investing in WonderFi, we believe that you look at 4 market-leading crypto platforms within Canada, 2 of the leading trading platforms, BitBuy and Coinsquare, that combined have consolidated an additional 3 crypto trading platforms, SmartPay and Tetra Trust. In total, we believe we have Canada's largest user base for digital asset participants, with over 1.6 million accounts across retail and institutional. And across all of our platforms, we have traded over $17 billion of value lifetime. When you take a look at these numbers and consider the $875 million of assets under custody that we have as of November 10th, it is clear to see that WonderFi is the market leader in Canada for this industry. We have focused on diversifying revenue streams, through the retail and institutional segments, as I've walked through, but also through staking and some of the other products that we offer, like SmartPay. We think SmartPay represents meaningful diversification from a revenue perspective, given that it has shown a clear ability to grow month over month in an otherwise difficult market for digital assets over the last 12 to 18 months. We expect SmartPay's revenues to continue to grow and continue to represent meaningful diversification away from the trading revenues that we generate. And at the same time, when you look at our trading revenues over the course of the last 12 to 18 months, we've done a really good job differentiating and diversifying those revenue streams by focusing on that institutional segment and building out a real business around that use case. And probably most importantly, from a regulation perspective, we have a proven track record of obtaining the key licenses required to operate in Canada and globally with SmartPay. When you think about the landscape within the crypto trading platform segment, we have seen many examples of what happens when participants use unregulated offshore platforms. We believe the trend is in our favor as regulation around the industry continues to tighten. WonderFi is in an incredibly strong position with its platforms that it owns and operates. Investors can have assurances that we have the licenses required to operate the businesses we do today. And we believe that's incredibly important, certainly from an investment perspective. And through the good standing that we have with our regulators and through the licenses we have, we will look to continue to roll out the additional products and services that our users are looking for within a regulated environment. We believe that offers meaningful assurance to the participants of on our platforms, knowing that not only are we a public company with increased transparency, but our operating subsidiaries have the licenses required to operate the business that they're engaged with. And with respect to CoinSquare, is currently the first and only of its kind to be a CIRO member. Just a quick note, as a public company, we are obviously mindful of the benchmarks that exist in market. This is just a brief slide to show some comparisons with some of our peers in the public markets. And certainly, management at WonderFi believes strongly that the stock is in a position where it can demonstrate real value moving forward, and certainly would look to close the gap on some of these multiples, certainly compared to the averages. Thank you everyone for taking the time. Really appreciate everyone that participated. We have a Q&A session now where we will pull up the questions, and I'll be able to provide responses. So I see a question here. Could you comment on your primary competition on the exchange side, and how will you be able to increase your share over time? Yeah, I think that's a great question. Certainly, as we've consolidated 5 of the 11 registered crypto trading platforms in the country, the competition has shrunk in numbers, but there still exists meaningful competition. When we think about the competitive landscape today, we certainly think of Coinbase and Kraken and Wealthsimple. Those would be our 3 primary competitors, and we feel really strongly about our position within the market. And with respect to how we will be able to increase our market share over time, I think some of that's been reflected in the stuff we've spoken about. Certainly focusing on institutional clients over the last 2 years has been incredibly beneficial for WonderFi, given the percentage of our total volumes that it represents today. Certainly, when you look to our staking offering, we believe that's a sign of how we can work with regulators to roll out additional products and services that will continue to differentiate WonderFi and its operating platforms within the market. And we believe our positioning as the clear market leader in Canada reflects incredibly well on us and our platforms, and will be a driver for further growth and a competitive advantage going forward. Just looking through these questions. There's a question here. Any possibility of offering your services in the US or elsewhere? Obviously, we are evaluating the various jurisdictions and the regulatory frameworks within those jurisdictions. As a regulatory focused business, we really want to be in markets where there is clear and defined regulation in place for the businesses that we're engaged with. And we think Canada has done a really good job at providing a clear framework for these platforms to operate within. And in many respects, the consolidation that we've done over the last 2 years has been possible through the clear regulatory framework that exists in Canada. It's a lot of questions. Let me just go through these. Sorry, Charlie's answering some of them, so some of them are disappearing. Let's see one here. Yeah. I see a question on attracting institutional buyers into WonderFi. I don't think I can comment specifically on that, but I could just say that management is incredibly focused on creating shareholder value for the shareholders that we have. We believe we've made meaningful progress over the course of the last 4 months on the back of the landmark acquisition of CoinSquare and CoinSmart. We believe that Q3 reflects that progress. And, as evidenced in our press release with the results that we saw in October and the increase in volumes that we've seen in November, we think the business is incredibly well positioned, and we are, focused on maintaining that and providing shareholder value. And we believe, through the hard work we're doing and the value that we are driving, that over time that will resonate with a larger audience. And, we expect strong outcome as a result of that. There's a few questions that I unfortunately won't be able to answer. There's questions on NASDAQ. I can just, obviously we put out a press release about a month or so ago on the NASDAQ. That's something that we continue to work through. As we have updates, obviously we'll share them with the market. And that's all we can really say on that topic. The question on branching into traditional finance, and whether or not, we would be offering similar products or more traditional financial products than the ones we offer today. It's something that we continue to explore. And we think through CoinSquare's regulatory licenses, some of these opportunities may present themselves. And I think for us, we always want to find the products that our clients are looking for, that are complementary to the services that we have today. And so naturally, a lot of that would focus around the digital asset industry. But, to the point, we do see meaningful overlap between the two. And, we're looking at products and services that we could roll out that could potentially tap into that. There's a question here. What increase of Bitcoin, what does an increase in Bitcoin's price mean for WonderFi revenue or shares? I think this is a good question. I don't think any price movement in any given day is going to dictate the price of WonderFi. Certainly what we've seen over the course of the last 2 months is a meaningful shift in sentiment for the broader digital asset industry. We think catalysts like BlackRock are incredibly valuable to increase, to providing the industry with, increased credibility. And, we look for signals like that are more meaningful than Bitcoin moving up 10% or down 10% in a given day. The signs we see are incredibly encouraging, and we think they reflect, a more mature, a growing market that will continue to grow over the course of many years to come. The growth we've seen in this market, certainly since I joined in January of 2018, has been incredible. And in many respects, we all feel like there is more room to grow within this asset class. Certainly the likes of BlackRock, entering the space, really strong signal. And so, we look for encouraging signs like that more so than, price sentiment or, movement in price or on any given period of time. And, certainly what we're seeing now is, the catalyst for another period of another strong period of market expansion. Yeah, there's a question here. Thoughts on the role the federal government is taking by limiting, restricting which tokens can be listed by Canadian exchanges. How does this affect innovation? I think the Canadian regulators did a really good job of putting a framework in place to protect the industry and the Canadian participants within it. I don't think anyone expected it to be perfect or final form, but it's a step in the right direction. The responsibility lies with platforms like ours to engage with regulators and have meaningful dialogue around the components that are working well versus some of the components that might have room for improvement. And we think restrictions on certain tokens could be something worth revisiting. And we think through meaningful dialogue with platforms like ours, over time the right balance will be met. And with regulation, we really look at it as an opportunity to build a bigger, more sustainable industry. And while we may not agree with all of the components, in the moment, we look at it as an opportunity to work with regulators, build up that trust between both parties, and then over time really look to ways in which that those regulations can be tweaked or adjusted to be more favorable to the participants that exist within the market. Scrolling through. There's a question on plans to consolidate CoinSquare and BitBuy where the capabilities overlap. Certainly something that we're evaluating, as part of our broader, plan through the acquisition of CoinSquare and CoinSmart and identifying all the synergies that we can extract. Certainly the overlap is something we're looking at closely, and whether that's overlap from a technology infrastructure perspective or whether it's from a human resources perspective, and we're certainly evaluating the ways in which those businesses can have more synergies between them. And that's something that we believe will be reflected in Q4 of this year in our financials and then moving forward into next year. Okay, I think that's about all the questions we have time for. Just wanted to thank everybody once again for attending. If anyone has any questions at all, feel free to email us at invest@wonder.fi, and you're always happy to answer questions or speak as we can. Really just want to say, on behalf of the company and the management team, we're really encouraged by the signs that we're seeing in the market, but more importantly, the signs that we're seeing within the business. We've been incredibly busy over the last 4 months integrating WonderFi, CoinSquare, and CoinSmart. We believe Q3 reflects real encouragement on the work that we've done, but we know that that's just a starting point, and that we'll have to continue to build up the trust and confidence within our investors and potential investors through results. We think that timing is lining up really well with respect to the work that we've put in and the sentiment shift in the broader digital asset industry. And we believe we're in an incredible position to capitalize on future market growth within the digital asset industry. And we're really encouraged by the results we're seeing and the results that we're expecting to see in Q4 and beyond. And I just want to thank everybody again for taking the time, and we're around if needed. Have a great day.